What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life Baby. You already know how it is. So today I wanted to bring you guys my green Titamon Turbo deck profile. Honestly, this is green is one of my more favorite colors. You know, really next to purple and blue. I really like the green specializes in cheap quick evolution skills. Really being able to go up the chain. Get through your deck a lot, get to your cards. Kind of like in a lot of green decks. Not you can consider it. It's like a version of ramp where you're ramping your memory, but instead of ramping your memory, you're really just ramping up your evolutionary stack, so to speak. But very good against people who memory choke. This deck has a lot of one cost evos and things like that, and I can't wait till Sarismon comes out. Oh my gosh, she's one of my favorite Digimon too. So let me show you guys what the deck can work with. I wouldn't consider this deck really to be a top tier ish deck. It can compete against it, and the way it kind of builds it, like every deck when you build your deck, for competitive play, you really got to think about what can I do to counter against Omnimon, or if I get stuck in certain scenarios. So I'll kind of go through that as we go through the build. But going into the eggs first, we have 4 copies of Titamon and 1 copy, if you can come out here, Fremon. Titamon, I think, is the best egg for green right now. When you his inheritable is that when you digivolve, the Digimon on top of him gets 1,000 power, and Fremon is if your opponent has 2 suspended Digimon, that Digimon gets 2k power. Now his ability doesn't go all, his ability doesn't go off. Like, let's say he's in the battle area, but you have something you digivolve in the resting area. His ability doesn't go off because you digivolved in the resting area. It has to be something that's a battle effect, because things that happen in the resting area don't affect whatever else happens on the board. That's like, something like that. So there's just important factor to keep in mind, that just by digivolving the resting area doesn't activate his ability in the battle area. They have to be battle area digivolved in order for him to get the power. So then for rookies, 1 copy of Palmon. I actually hate Palmon as a Digimon. I never liked Palmon. I'm only putting it at 1 because I'm running 13 rookies, but Palmon's ability is on play. You look at the top 3 of your deck, search for a level 4, and add to your hand. The rest go to the bottom. It's an okay card, not good. Can't wait to cut it, but yeah, it's just in here as a one of. 4 copies of Goblimon, the only vanilla rookie that we have really right now to play. I know we have the Mushroomon, but he has a 1 cost Evo, and you only really see him in in Rookie Rush builds. So 4 copies of Goblimon, 4 copies of Agumon. Agumon gives the inheritable 1k power, simple, easy, one of your best evos. And then you have 4 copies of Titamon. Tentamon's really cool. His inheritable is when you attack, you rest to 3,000 less. So he really helps you against Rookie Rush decks, against decks that people play out a lot of like 3 cost rookies and stuff like that. 3 cost less rookies, you can rest them, and then you can use something else on your board to kind of swing over it. It also helps when you're going up against people who toss out rookies and you start having piercing effects. Really good in that area. For level 4s, 4 copies of Woodmon, just your standard blocker here, Woodmon. 4 copies of Kabuterimon. Kabuterimon's a really strong inheritable skill, and I think you're also going to see him in 1.5 and Sarismon builds. 1 cost evos. Again, we're starting to get to the 1 cost evos. Very memory efficient if your opponent chokes you out. He can easily get you up to a level 5, but his inheritable is the Digimon on top of him basically the inheritable is the Digimon gets 1,000 for each rested on your opponent's board. So the more cards your opponent has rest, the more power it gets. Really good. And then we have Vanilla Vegemon, just a 6k, just an easy 6k 1 cost Evo, basically like a Gorillamon clone in a sense. Again, just simple, easy, really fast to get up to where you need to get up to. That's it for my level 4s. Not too much going on there. For my ultimates, I'm running 2 copies of Akuamon. So he's a 6k ultimate. 2 cost Evo. Pretty much everything in here is like 2 costs. There's really no 3 cost Evos except for one of my megas. But really, his inheritable is when you delete a Digimon by attacking it and you survive the battle, you gain a memory. So he helps you, gain a memory if you swing over something, and it's a nice skill because a lot of times you're going to be to establish board control. You're going to be swinging over it like with a Titamon or a Puppetmon or something like that. Otherwise, it's okay. I'm actually running 3 copies of Cherrymon. Now, the one thing is that like there will be a lot of games where you do get stuck at level 5, and Cherrymon is a 7K blocker that can attack. Because usually like blockers have this skill like Woodmon does, where when you attack with it, you lose 2 memory. But he is something where he's a good bridge into a mega, a cheap 2 cost Evo, 7K blocker that you can also use offensively. So I think I really like him for the versatility brings and the potential. If I need to use him as a wall, I can use him as a wall, or I can use him as a solid 7K attacker, even more attacker if depending on what his stack is. So I really like Cherrymon there, and then 4 copies of Lilymon. Lilymon, it has like the best inheritable from your megas, where when you attack with it, you can rest something that does not have blocker. So that's what we're running for Lilymon. A very solid card overall here. It's funny that Cherrymon is your strongest ultimate, but again, really Lilymon and Akumon are cards you want to go into when you're really trying to transition into a mega. Your Cherrymon is a versatile unit that you can save, just as a blocker and or attacker, or if you wanted to bridge into a mega, you can. Speaking of megas, 4 copies of Titamon. He's just your basic 2 cost Evo vanilla 12K. Just a solid card overall. Green is green. You can turbo up to him pretty fast, again with all the 1 cost 2 cost Evos, and he really benefits off of a really good stack too, and him being 12K, a lot of times he can swing over everything. You can even get him, depending on things set up, you can even get him to swing over an Omnimon, believe it or not. So this is why it's Titamon Turbo Deck, because you just put this guy on the board and really just start crashing into just killing cards off their board, establishing board control, or just running down their security. And then I'm playing 3 copies of Puppetmon. I had to flex and use these ones here. So Puppetmon is a fantastic card. When you on his on play ability is you rest when your opponent's Digimon, and then all of their rested cards cannot be unsuspended during your opponent's active phase. So he basically, if you guys play Mega Colony, he basically stuns your opponent's he can stun your opponent's board. Dropping this guy now, that is giving them quite a bit of memory, dropping him for an 11 play cost. But again, you can play him if you're at 1. You can stun Omnimons, and then really go into your turn and swing over, so it kind of stalls your opponent out. Dropping him, and if your opponent doesn't really have a response, he can literally secure the game. And his other ability is when he attacks, you gain a memory. So he's just a 10K that can attack and gain a memory. And he's a 3-cost Evo, and there will be times where it's like, well, look, I can Digivolve him on top of something, and it'll be more beneficial to me to Digivolve him on top of one of my ultimates and swing in, rather than to hold him in my hand to drop him on the board. Sometimes you have to Digivolve into him and go in. So Puppetmon, just overall solid, very solid mega, really good, and secures a lot of games for green in general. For my tamers, 2 copies of Mimi. Mimi's a good card, but I don't think you need to play 3. I think that's a little bit overkill. But she is one of the best tamers, to where when you have a level 5, you can rest her and hatch a card. So you can hatch a card, or you can move a card from your hatching zone into the battlefield. And because you're moving a card from your hatching zone into the battlefield, that card can attack. So that was a ruling on her. So she's actually probably the best tamer. And you can set up a play where if you have 2 on the board, rest her, hatch, Digivolve into something, and then swing with your swing with your stuff, and if you have a level 5, rest the other one, call this out, and kind of kill your opponent like that. So overall, she's good. Again, this deck is very memory efficient, and can work with low memory costs and memory choking. So if you see her, if you do see her, then that's just a super bonus. If not, that's fine. This deck is very versatile and can really work around it. As far as the option goes, 2 copies or 3 copies of Terror's Cluster. Now, the reason why I'm playing 3 copies of Terror's Cluster is, so this is Green's version of Terror Force in a way where you choose a rested Digimon and you send it to the bottom of their deck, and then trash the rest of the evolutionary sources. So this is basically our best answer to Omnimon, believe it or not. Outside of stunning it with Puppetmon, or trying to figure out how you can swing over it with a Titamon if your stack is correct for that. Terror Cluster away, because they're going to swing with Omnimon. He's going to be in arrest. You just drop a Terror Cluster on them, and you get rid of their Omnimon. Now, if it's hitting security, and you're going up against a Restander, it does suck. So this is why this card is not that good. But again, you're really building this deck to have an answer to Omnimons. And it's one of those things where they swim with the Omnimon, and you're trying to play for the Terror Cluster. You can block it, and then you'll take the second attack that Omnimon swings at you. And if it's a Terror Cluster, then there goes the Omnimon. So you can really kind of play with how you defend your security to set up a potential Terror Cluster. And then the last one is 4 copies of Flower Cannon. So Flower Cannon is Green's, I really want to say, best option card. It's literally just a 2-cost rest one of your opponents, pretty much suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or rest it. And then in security, you rest all of your opponent's Digimon that do not have blocker, in his card text. So this card can actually, in security, can end a lot of games. Put all your opponent's Digimon to rest, so it stops their assault on your security. You can just play this for 2 costs, easy 2 costs, rest their blocker, and then that opens up the gate for your green Digimon to swing in and knock out security. So yeah, Flower Cannon is just overall good. Definitely 4. Sometimes it can feel like it clogs, but if you can set up your board correctly, plays correctly to knock out certain cards, then just overall good. But that's the deck profile, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be bringing you guys more deck profiles soon. This is Cardfight King, Aqua Life, and we're out.